Cigarettes! You guys ever had a cigarette or any type of tobacco product? It can be pretty chill sometimes, but you know, it's not really chill for your health. I've been a smoker myself. I smoked for like a decade and you know, it's nice, it's relaxing sometimes, and once you start doing it, it really is an addiction and it's hard to get off. It's always in the back of your mind. I've quit for like a year now and I still want to, you know, have a cig every once in a while. I'm not gonna lie, dude. But today we're gonna talk about some drastic movements that have been taken in England in order to completely destroy the cigarette industry. There have been tries to make this shit happen. There's been Juuls that came out and then they got in trouble. So then they banned all these like flavors. All this stuff happened in the US for the most part. But England, they're taking things a step further and they're straight up saying, if you're born after 2009, you will never lay your lips on a fucking cigarette. So it's a little crazy. A lot of people have stuff to say. People think it's good. Some people think it's like impeding on their rights as an adult. Let's see what people have to say. We got a little bit of a clip on YouTube from Channel 4 News. So let's jump right in without further ado and sink our teeth into this story.
When you see a longish queue nowadays, you may be pretty sure it's for those elusive cigarettes.
Those elusive cigarettes.
1948, a shortage of cigarettes and some advice from government.
If all smokers would just smoke 1 cigarette less in 10, we'd get somewhere. I'm doing it.
Today,
I'm doing it, so you can too. It's funny, like they were saying that back in the day because they were like, dude, there's not enough cigarettes to go around. Like we all need our cigarettes. Now it's more or less, we need to just get rid of these ciggies.
evolved. The government wants to create an entirely smoke-free generation.
Tobacco and vapes bill.
It's a decision based on health needs, say the government, but with economic benefits too.
Smoking costs the economy some £17 billion, and yet we raise only £10 billion in taxes from smoking. So we want to make this choice as simple.
Wait, what? It costs £10 billion, yet they only raise what in taxes?
Smoking costs the economy some
£17 billion,
and yet we raise only £10 billion in taxes from smoking. So we want to make this choice as simple as
So it's just a
possible,
money thing?
both for adults to help them quit, but also we want to help parents support their children.
I feel like mentioning how much money the government's making off of taxes is not the way to approach this. Like, let's talk about how much money the government is spending on healthcare from smokers. You know, there's a lot of other good points that could be driven, but all right, whatever. Interesting little take.
Children to ensure that they never ever take up this incredibly addictive and very harmful habit.
The plan: raise the legal age of buying tobacco by 1 year every year until it covers everyone in the UK. So anyone who didn't turn 15 by the end of 2023 will never be allowed to buy cigarettes.
And in 50 years' time, you're going to have an old boy coming to tobacconists saying that I'm 64 years old, I'm entitled to buy cigarettes, but my friend here next to me who's 63 can't buy cigarettes. It's ridiculous. It's not enforceable.
It is a good point, honestly. Like, I could totally see that. It's kind of crazy. You're 1 year off, your friends are smoking, and you're not. Like, that's a little wild. I'm sure that they, you know, people would buy cigarettes for others, and I get the idea that it'll phase out, but it's gonna take a while. Like, you need all those people who are at the 1 year cutoff line to die. You know what I mean? Like, the stores are gonna have to stock cigarettes for them. Until that point, there's gonna be cigarettes everywhere, bro. And needless to say, there's going to be a black market. Like, obviously. This is talking mostly about cigarettes and vapes as well. I don't know if this applies to like cigars or pipe tobacco, but let's watch on. Let's see what these guys say. We got the Prime Minister.
Backbencher, but the odd former Tory Prime Minister too.
I know that smoking is bad for you.
Is he on TikTok, bro? Is this his account? He's got little captions. I know that smoking is bad for you.
Declining fast in the UK, and that's why any attempt by government to prohibit smoking is, in my view, a monstrous waste of police time and resources.
Okay, so he's against it.
The position for it seems to be from within your own party. Is there a 100% guarantee that you are committed to this is going to be seen through?
This is an incredibly important policy. Smoking kills. We do not want our children and young people taking up smoking.
There's not just policy but politics at play here. There have been continued rumours of a push against the Prime Minister, questions over whether or not he'll make it to a general election.
So why risk what little political currency he has on a policy no one was calling for? Tory MPs have openly called this ban unconservative. Said they'll vote
Is he
against
with the ban? I'm confused now. They're saying like he's with the ban. It sounded like he was saying like everything's on an all-time low. There's no point in doing this. It's a waste of resources. But apparently he's with it or something? Am I missing something here?
getting it through Parliament may rely on Labour votes. But sources say the Prime Minister's pushing ahead anyway because this is his legacy.
All right, he's with it. The Prime Minister's with it.
The scale of what the Prime Minister is trying to achieve becomes apparent. Not just clamping down on smoking, but vaping too. A smoking alternative so popular, ports are flooded with fakes.
Literally tons. I think in 1 week we had something like 600,000.
600,000 of those little disposable vapes?
Yeah.
A problem on an industrial scale, possibly containing industrial fluid.
This one being an illegal one, you've got no idea what it is. Yeah, it could be engine or it could be anything.
That's true, honestly. I was smoking a lot of these disposable vapes towards the end of my smoking career. And, you know, they're fucking delicious, bro. Like, who knows what's in them? And they're not legal here, so they're not regulated. Nobody knows what's inside of them, dude. There's no way that they need to be that tasty. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a little concerning, to say the least.
It's just rubbish.
And now, for the first time, researchers at UCL have published a new study drawing a link between vapes and increased risk of cancer. It's found people who vape suffer similar changes to their DNA as smokers.
DNA changes. You know, it's so funny, like, I remember, like, a decade ago, not even a decade ago, maybe less, there were doctors online who were like, vaping is good, start vaping. And it's literally just like history repeating itself with those old commercials from like the 30s of doctors being like, I smoke Camel cigarettes because they're unfiltered and it's the best nutrition. You know, like, it's literally just history repeating itself, and it's funny to watch, quite frankly.
Don't know the long-term effects. Studies like these make us think we really don't want current non-smokers to take up vaping, and in particular, marketing to children is utterly unacceptable.
The government says they'll restrict flavours, change the packaging and where they can be displayed. In short, make them less appealing to kids.
We've listened to parents and we know that they're very worried about this, and we know...
So you accept that there are lots of young people who are now vaping, who would never have smoked, and it's all happened under your government's watch?
Today we are acting to bring this legislation forward to help create a first smoke-free generation, but also to ban disposable vapes because of all the problems we know that they cause for families, but also for the environment.
I was saying that for a little bit too. Like, I remember people were complaining about cigarette butts being everywhere, scattered along the curbs of streets and shit. And then I started seeing disposable vapes everywhere in the rain. They're flashing, and it's just batteries, bro. Like, there's just batteries everywhere on the floors. Definitely a larger concern when it comes to environmental safety. I don't fucking know.
If this law passes, the UK will have some of the strictest smoking laws in the world. Making it law, though, might not just be a question of health, but a test of leadership.
Well, the Public Health Minister, Andrea Leadsom, spoke to me earlier, and I began by asking her about criticism of the ban from the former Prime Minister Liz Truss, who said a Conservative government should not be seeking to extend the nanny state.
Essentially, if you're addicted to nicotine, you don't have any choice. So actually what we're seeking to do is to stop young people, kids, from starting smoking, because in effect, if they get addicted to nicotine, they, like all smokers, are likely to die of it, and they will not have the choice. So to sort of say that this is something about free choice and nanny state is just, it's not really relevant in the case of this bill.
Well, you probably know those were words spoken by Liz Truss, and she made the point that these are adults' freedoms that you're taking away when the time comes.
Well, they're not actually. So nobody who's smoking today will have their rights to smoke curtailed in any way.
Yeah, but those children will eventually be adults.
Actually, a combination of strong enforcement on underage smoking, and then actually for smoking, making every year 1 year older, does mean that those young people will never take up smoking, and the idea is that it will die out. Culturally, it just won't be something that you think about doing.
So is Liz Truss deluded or dangerous, or a bit of both?
I wouldn't use those words in the context of Liz, but I just don't agree with her.
What would you say to your own kids about vaping?
Well, my kids don't vape. I actually decided that I would offer them a significant sum of money if they each reached 21 and could tell me that they weren't a smoker or a vapor. So they've all tried it.
I'd just be vaping and be like, yeah, Mom, I ain't vaping. Get that money.
And actually, they've all so far cashed in.
They've all cashed in.
Who's yet to be 21, but I think she's going to make the cut as well.
How much have you given them?
I think that's between me and them, Kathy.
What, like, we're talking thousands, though.
No.
A small bribe, a few hundred.
Yeah, a few hundred, but when you're that age, that is a meaningful sum, and it is certainly worth it to me, because I took up smoking when I was 14 with my sister, who was 12, and by the time I was 20, I was smoking 40 a day.
40 a day?
And actually,
damn.
The interesting thing is that is now 40 years ago. I gave up as my 21st birthday present to myself. It was so hard, and now, when I find myself talking about smoking all the time, sometimes I think, do you know what? I would really fancy a cigarette. So even 40 years having not smoked, it still has the power to kind of pull me in.
Just Liz Truss and her allies are in revolt over this,
in
the
revolt.
smoking ban. They're also rebelling over plans to scrap short-term prison sentences.
I'm with that. Short-term prison sentences?
Having a bunch of such disloyal colleagues, or whether he's brought it on himself.
Well, I think the Prime Minister is getting on with the day job, and you know the great news is we saw a big drop in inflation today, now at 3.4%, which you know.
All right, they just talk about some stuff that's happening in England at this point, but that's pretty much the gist of the story. Now, is this really gonna wind up working in the grand scheme of things? I don't know, dude. Like from my understanding, whenever you try to ban something, it's going to find its way. Like if the people want it, they will find it. It's definitely gonna create like an underground market of people selling tobacco products for younger people, and yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I'm partially with it. Like I like the idea behind it, but you know, this shit would never happen in America. I know that for a fact. But yeah, man, if you are 15 and it's 2024, you're never gonna smoke again in England, because this law actually just passed April 23rd. So this is enacted and it's real, guys. What do you guys think of this? Like, have you ever smoked a cigarette? And if so, what do you think about this ban? I mean, I agree, you know, smoking's not a good thing, and it's probably for the best of these kids, but is it really the government's place to make that decision? We're all just kind of like living on this world, dude. If you want to ingest some tobacco, maybe you should be able to. Is that your right? I can kind of see both sides of the argument, guys. Comment down below what you think. I wanted to talk about the topic because as a smoker myself, it hit home, dude. If you like these types of videos, I post 3 times a week, so get in the loop, hit that bell, hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys next time. I'm your boy Peablar. It's been real, be well, and peace.